Ladies and gentlemen, our nation's court, based on the balance of probability, with a single judge determined that Mr Johnny Depp was a domestic abuser with 12 separate acts of wife beating. Although this was a liable case, it entirely parallels what is happening in fact-finding hearings up and down the country in the family courts. But a jury in the state of Virginia, USA, has just totally exonerated Mr Depp, vindicating him of all domestic abuse, finding that Miss Heard maliciously lied with false claims of being a victim of domestic violence and defamed him, destroying his career. Today, I feel totally vindicated in my campaign to expose our broken, inept, incompetent and incomprehensible family court system. Let me explain with some questions and answers, but before I do, I have to run my excellent introduction. I am Phil Kedge, a retired police chief inspector, the director of the Mckenzie Friend UK network and founder of the campaign of #LikeNotHate. In all my vlogs, my views and opinions are entirely my own. This case potentially has wide and seismic implications for our judicial system and in particular the family courts. So let's get started. Question 1. In our family courts, do I see resident parents, who are mostly mothers, engage in mudslinging, malicious and spurious allegations of domestic abuse and coercive control based on hate, hurt feelings, spite and irrational anxieties, with the intent of restricting, minimising and denying contact between children and the non-resident parent, who are mostly fathers? I believe that this is now endemic within the family courts, that it is the norm when it comes to allegations of abuse and coercive control, fueled and led by the all too often sick in the head family lawyers who stir the pot of acrimony for financial gain, engage in thousands of pounds of totally unnecessary work, leave people in crippling financial debt and have absolutely no duty of care to any child. How disgraceful is that? Number 2. Is the family court getting a grip on this issue? Absolutely not. I believe that thousands of men at fact findings based on spurious allegations of hate with no credible evidence are having their contact with their children restricted, minimised or denied, and their reputations, lives and careers destroyed, and being falsely labelled forever as domestic abusers and child abusers. Question 3. Is the family court broken? It's beyond broken. It's a sick system that needs to be put down. I believe that the family court and judges can be entirely manipulated by any vengeful, spiteful and hateful resident parent to throw the non-resident parent under the family court bus and to destroy them and their relationships with their children. Question 4. Are judges capable and competent in appropriately identifying spurious allegations and have the skills and abilities to fairly and impartially conduct fact-finding hearings? In my opinion, and from what I observe, I believe that a significant number of family court judges are inept, incompetent and impotent in their roles. They have succumbed to the madness of the self-victimhood, Me Too culture of man-hate and have lost all perspective in their attitudes, thinking and the application of justice. I believe that the insane, woke, believe all victims mantra has infiltrated the entire family court system and is causing intolerable harm, not only to mostly fathers, their mental health, their reputations and even careers, but also the destruction of childhoods. The claim that the family court has the welfare of the child as paramount is, from what I observe, nothing more than a farcical joke. I have seen more harm and destruction to families, fathers and children in the family courts than I have seen in my entire career as a police officer, and that's saying something. The family courts and the judges are now so detached from the realities of life with their irrational wielding of the blunt sword of justice that, in my opinion, it is now dangerous for any father to step foot inside a court seeking help to reunite them with their children. There is now a chasm of a disconnect between us, the people, our expectations, our common sense understanding of the imperfections of relationships in the real world, and the godlike, zealot, arrogant, out-of-touch attitudes of judges who sit in positions of absolute power, allowing the flawed and ill-conceived Domestic Abuse Act of 2021 to be openly wielded as a weapon of mass destruction right in front of them. The jury in the Depp case has clearly and correctly reflected what the common person, us the people, consider in terms of real domestic abuse, what real victims of violence are, and the evidence that is required to prove it. Our family courts cannot be further apart from serving us the people with truth and justice. I believe that as many as 70% of cases where domestic abuse is alleged are spurious and need to be struck out at the very start of proceedings. Allegations that, in my view, any reasonable jury would find to be a complete nonsense and what may be expected in the ups and downs of any imperfect relationship. But instead, our mad judges in our inept family courts appear to be engaging in an irrational, out-of-control witch hunt against mostly fathers, in nothing more than a kangaroo court where the concept of justice has been eroded to the point of farce. What happens next? The non-resident parents, who are mostly fathers, going through the family court, have to wake up. If you are sitting there naively believing that the family court is about fairness and justice to restore your loving relationship with your child, then very possibly you are nothing more than another sheep to the slaughter. Ladies and gentlemen, in my next vlog, I am going to once and for all expose the family court and how I believe it is systematically being manipulated by resident parents and their all too often sick family lawyers as a weapon to destroy the non-resident parent, with nothing more than spurious and malicious allegations. A blueprint of hate that, if applied correctly, works almost every time. This is a title and will be coming very soon. I end by calling on Sir Andrew McFarlane, the President of the Family Court Division, to now stand up and display the public leadership that is now so desperately needed. He needs to come out from under his wig to speak to us directly, the people, the family court service users, who have had enough. If he won't, can't or doesn't want to, then he has to go, because another 2.5 years of what I am observing and what good, decent, loving fathers are experiencing would be intolerable. And as for you, the non-resident parents, the mostly fathers, who seek only to love your children and to try and build positive co-parenting relationships, putting aside your differences of the past, but are now being thrown under the family court bus with spurious allegations of hate, you can, like Mr Depp, find the courage to take a stand. I can only hope that the courage and determination shown by Mr Depp as a true survivor of domestic abuse, who has had his life and reputation destroyed, may now set a new precedent around false allegations in our family courts and a paradigm shift away from the current madness. I invite you to right now join the campaign of #LikeNotHate at likenothate.co.uk. It's time to fight back from the inside. Join the litigant in person army today. Until next time.